Hello, me lovelies. Well, this is the third attempt at this. Oh, Pooch, my old little dog, has been up and down trying to interfere with me doing this. So hopefully he'll stay downstairs, but if you suddenly see it cut, it's because he's come upstairs again, barking and demanding attention. Anyway, this response to Shaun Attwood's pathetic attempt to use the death of his friend, Wild Man, Peter Mahoney, to get revenge on me and other people and stir up drama on True Geordie. That's nice. It's supposed to be a tribute to Wild Man. I'm not going to go into in depth because I've got a blog that I did a while ago, which I'll put a link below to androguy.co.uk, which shows all the evidence, all the receipts to show that Shaun is lying about the Daddy Kate scam. Pity that Brian and Lawrence from True Geordie didn't actually reach out to me and ask me my version, and didn't reach out to Brand YouTube and ask their version of events, or Sonia Polton or Amber Huxley and ask their version of events. Instead, they use the fact that they have a big, massive podcast to bully and intimidate on behalf of their friend Shaun Attwood. And I'll point out something very interesting here. Very early on, I think it's 2 minutes 20 something seconds, you'll see Brian, and Shaun has thanked Brian for being good friends and all this business and letting him speak because he can't pick up a camera. I'll just get onto that in a minute. Can only pick up a camera. His own words tell that that's a lie. I'll read them out soon. I've got emails to read out here. But Brian turns round and he says, "Yeah, well, no helping him." And he says, and he does this, "And you helped us." But he says it so quick, as if it slipped out by accident. "And you helped us." Now, the way he did that body language here, I don't think he was talking about Lawrence. He was talking about himself. And sometimes in the north, you'll hear people saying us. Are you talking to us? Are you being cheeky to us? Strange way of talking. It's like saying we, isn't it? The royal we. When people say we, when they're actually talking about themselves. And it's like he suddenly, listen for it, it's just very quick, as if he says, and they didn't edit it out, but he says it by accident. What the hell could Shaun do for them? They were the one that got him where he is today. There's something going on here, people. Shaun's done some favour for him, and this is Shaun, the self-confessed Freemason, from a family who are well connected to very high Freemasons. Why do you think he got out of American prison so quickly and so easily? And telling you need connections in the right places. And his family are well known on Merseyside in certain areas for being very well connected. Well, let's put it this way. So connected, he can literally tell the Liverpool Echo what to print about the death of Wildman. That was Shaun that wrote that, not them. But anyway, moving on. He did this about apparently Wildman, and he was crying, and you see him in it, and he really goes shaking and everything, just about 4 times now. People, I want you to look at these pictures and tell me if you can see any tears whatsoever. So, did you see any tears? See any wetness on his eyelashes? No, he certainly didn't, because he wasn't crying. He was acting. Now, that's what's called dry crying. And you'll see it. You'll all know. You've seen the case where the police have got criminals and they want to test them out or trip them up, and they put them out on television to appeal over a murder, and they know that they suspect that person did the murder. and they're looking to see. Well, that's one thing they look for. Look at Philpott. You know, Mike Philpott. That was his name, wasn't he? The one that set the house on fire and he killed his kids. They calls him out by that dry cry and mopping his brow. And if you look at Shaun, right, the natural thing to do is if you're crying to wipe your eyes. It's natural. You can't help yourself doing it. He never once tries to wipe his eyes. That's because he knows he's acting and there's no tears there, so he doesn't have to wipe them. And Lawrence and Brian are sitting close to him and they didn't see it. And when they were editing the video together, they didn't see it on the close-ups that there was no tears here. That tells you one thing. Those two were fully aware that he was pulling a stunt here, and the stunt was to use a huge platform like True Geordie to bully and intimidate people he blames for his own actions. And that's what it boils down to his own actions. Anyway, I want to address a couple of things. I've done a website and you can read it. I'll put a link below, andrewguine.co.uk, where you can see all the receipts of what I'm saying that Shaun's a liar when he talks about Daddy Gaten. I don't see going over it all again because I've done it before. Anyway, but also what he did was he claimed that yes again he said this, I actually told people to report Callie Diamond to the social service and get her son taken off it. And I talk about this in the blog I did. Read it if you're interested. No, I didn't. Look, I knew, and I say this, Callie Diamond did not have custody of her son. There's no way. I know why her son was taken off it. But I'm not going to use that child like he uses that child to attack me. Why would you go to the social service and tell them to take, or tell someone to go to social service and report it, to have a child taken off her when I knew damn well she didn't have custody of him? I said that from day one. She doesn't have. That's why I said it was a fraud. That's why I said the GoFundMe was a fraud. One, I found out that she was she was still doing sex work, which she didn't say on the GoFundMe. And two, I said, and anyone can see this, I said, she has not got custody of her son. So why I tell people to run and tell them to social service, I don't know. But anyway, I'm surprised that Shaun using a son like that. No, because he's acting out grief and using the death of his friend to attack people with on True Geordie, and True Geordie and enable him to do that and assisting him with it. Anyway, then he said other things that I want to address quickly. He went on about brand YouTube, BNT. He didn't name them, but it was obvious because he kept on going on about Sonia Pope. And that's the Raw report. Remember, he was doing the Raw report. And what it was, quickly for people who don't know, once Daddy Gates broke, Sonia and Mohammed Buss, who was one of the co-founders, were absolutely horrified by it and thought, we have to get through this. Now what it was, Shaun was supposed to come on, give his version of things. Then Mohammed Buss and brand YouTube would decide whether it was palatable to continue with them, because they have standards. Unlike True Geordie, they have standards, and they want to keep those standards. In other words, social conscience. They don't want to put someone out there that isn't undesirable. Anyway, which is rare now, very, very rare for someone to do that now. Anyway, that's what happened, and the resounding message was they didn't want, people didn't want him back, so they didn't have him back. But what Shaun said on True Geordie was made out that he'd been double crossed by brand YouTube. They tricked him into confessing and told him, oh, everything will be alright, just confess it, then we'll get on with it. No, they didn't. And now you know that's a lie. Is why did a few days later Shaun do his video where he turns around and is saying, please write in to brand YouTube and tell them you want me back with Sonia. I love Sonia, I love brand YouTube, I think this is brilliant. If he was being double crossed. See, liars need good memories, and he's got a very bad memory as Shaun Attwood. You can't keep a lie going, which is being found out now, and this is why he's losing his grip on his business, because his claims he's made, people are finding out. His claims of his, I was a drugs kingpin and all this, and how powerful he was, and mixing with these gangsters, it's all being exposed to be lies now. He was never the rich millionaire he's making out. He was never the big kingpin he was making out. He didn't mix with these big gangsters that he's making out. It was all bravado to sell books and all lies to build himself up. And I always thought when you look at him, he doesn't look like the type, does he? That these people would get on with. Anyway, that's two issues. But in regard to brand new tube, I sincerely hope Mohammed pulls Shaun and Brian and Lawrence of True Geordie on this, because let me stress this: what they are doing, True Geordie are using the fact that they have a massive following to bully and intimidate me, Sonia Poulton, to a varying degree, Amber Huxley, and anyone that calls Shaun or pulls them out. And we all have receipts. We all have receipts to back up what we're saying, which True Geordie didn't bother. And I'm just hope, and if you're listening to this, Mohammed, please, because Mohammed is a very astute businessman. He's got a legal team behind him. He's got a moral conscience, and I'm hoping he actually goes and pursues this issue with True Geordie to send out the message: no, you can't use your podcast to bully and spread lies and slander and get people trolled, because that's the hope I'm going to be trolled. Now also this thing, just mention this quickly, that I was trolling Shaun's guests who were victims of child sex exploitation and child sex abuse, and that's why he had me on his show. Very quickly point that out, how that's a lie, that I wasn't. He interviewed me the same day as he interviewed Maggie Oliver, who, exposed grooming scandals, or helped to expose a grooming scandal that Greater Manchester Police were involved in. Now, that was the 19th of October 2019. My podcast wasn't aired until December. Do you want to go back before, when you can even go back before December, you don't even have to go back to when it was actually filmed, October, and see if there is any way, don't forget, October 2019. Go back and see if Shaun even once interviews someone that's been sexually abused or is a victim of sex abuse. Nope, not one. Blatant lie. And why wouldn't he turn round to me in the interview and say, well, you've had problems, haven't you, with me, and that's why I've asked you on, can we discuss it? No, he doesn't. And I don't mention, do I look like a person that would sit there and go, I'm not mentioning the fact that I have issues with you? Like hell I would. I would have mentioned it straight away. It's because it never happened. He never had anyone on there. When he's accused me also of trolling, wait until you hear this, Mike Tarriger, the meat rack boy. Shall I give you a bit of news now, Shaun? That might shock you. Me and Mike Tarriger are in talks now. We talk to each other. Because he's woken up to what John Wedgett is and what Anna Priest has done. And he agrees with me. I still have issues with him. Dare say he still has issues with me, but we're both off the same page, and he's seriously ill, and he is seriously ill now. Very ill. Has Shaun been down to see him? No. Can't be bothered. Why? Because he doesn't want to offend John Wedgett, who Shaun was promoting. And also Brian and Lawrence, another one of his guests, which he accused me of trolling, who's called Wilfred Wong. Right? Don't know whether you know this. He's in prison at the moment until, I think it's August next year, August the 1st, I think it is, on a charge of helping to kidnap a child, an 8-year-old child, at knife point. Now, do you want to mention anyone else do you want to look at my videos and see where I mention anyone else. Do I mention Jeanette Archers? Do I mention any of them? No, I don't. No, I don't. So he's a liar. And he's saying that to try to make out that I'm just out to bring down, people who claim to be survivors of child sex abuse. No, I'll call a person a liar when I think they are. But I'm the one, here we are, true Geordie, I'm the one, right, that lost my job, was bullied horrifically by the Merseyside police. Just look at some of my videos. Had 2 heart attacks with the stress of it. And I don't even have any children, right? And I've never played the sympathy card over it. And I've got all the paperwork to prove where I battled and battled and battled and battled. I went as far as I could and just hit a brick wall. And even though I don't like John Wedger because of all this satanic ritual abuse he comes out with, he's right when he says there's a brick wall there and you cannot get past it. He's right when he says that. And when he's talking about bullying, yeah, you do get bullied. You get bullied horrifically in police when you speak out. Which I wonder if you've ever done that, Brian, or you've done that, Lawrence. No, you're just helping a man who enacts out a paedophile action or scenario, incestuous paedophile scenario with a woman who claims she was sexually abused a 4-year-old child. That's what you support and allow him to bully. So anyway, what I want to do is read out emails and to show you. Now I sent these to True Geordie. I won't get a reply because big bullying people like that don't reply. Big men like that, that's the whole point of it. They're going to intimidate anyone that calls Shaun Attwood by not replying. Think of that when they're going on about, the system. Now just let's get these up on my laptop. There we go. Now these are the emails. Now I've sent them these. I felt you've been had, lads. Now remember, this is supposed to be Shaun doing this in a tribute to Wildman. But what Shaun forgot, he'd sent me emails. And it started off simple enough. What it was, Callie Diamond had done, and let me get these in order because it's not coming up on order here. Where is it? Ah, yeah. What he did was Callie Diamond, and he set her up to it, went on a podcast and started accusing me, James English, Billy Moore, of and Sharon Gale of being involved in all kinds of sex parties and everything else. He was putting her up to saying all this. Anyway, I turned round, I contacted him and said, Shaun, I said, do you know, because apparently they're not supposed to be together. Of course they're still together. You could even hear him coughing in the background, which he did on purpose to make fools out of the person that was questioning her, I should say. Anyway, he sent me this reply when I said, you do know she's going around telling all kinds of lies. And I said, she's not being complimentary to you either. This is what he replied. I can't be everywhere at once, Anne. I'm too busy making videos to get you more subscribers. He's making videos. Now, the date of this is the 8th of December, right? The 8th of December. I thought he said on, just go back and check it, he said on True Geordie that the reason he was being there because he couldn't pick up a camera and do another podcast with grief over the death of Wildman. Well, there he's lying. And also, I'll tell you something else. Callie Diamond let it slip that he was in a studio doing a podcast as she was talking on this podcast. So he has been. So that was a lie. So you've been used there, haven't you? You've been duped, but you wanted to be duped, didn't you, Brian and Lawrence? I'll finish reading this anyway. It says, I reckon within 1 week you will be at 8k, or at least you're about to get a lot of attention and views. Now, there's only way you can see that as a threat. So I said to Shaun, are you threatening me? Like I cared, he could threaten me. I'll have to be quick, my power's going down on this. So anyway, he goes on and says, it's my Christmas gift to you, something you will be able to feed off throughout December. Most of your viewers only want to see Attwood content. We can't let them eat cake. We'll get bleeding Marie Antoinette there. Oh, that's not one of his other kinks, is he? Walking around with panniers on and big bouffant wigs. Oh, just with this fan, thinking he's Marie Antoinette. Now, this is the best one. Wait until you hear this one. This was sent the day after. Life is boring without prank drama. It's like an irresistible flame. Sometimes it gets too big and unwieldy, and I want it to shrink. Other times it reduces to embers, and I want to fan it into a bonfire again. The fanning is come very soon. Oh, isn't he dramatic? Oh, how dramatic is that? Anyway, John, you know, I can't be bothered going on with this anymore. I'll leave a link to the websites I did explaining it. Please, if you listen, Mohammed, I'm begging you, for the sake of stopping, giving out the message, stop big podcasts like True Geordie, intimidate, using the podcast to intimidate and silence any kind of opposition to people they're in some kind of tryst with. I don't know what it is, some kind of complicity they're in with them. Please do that, because you have the power and the muscle to do that. Me, Amber Huxley and Sonia Pond don't. Oh, by the way, guess what, darlings? This will cheer up, Shaun. Me and Brand New Tube were in discussions a while ago about me appearing on the Raw Report, talking to Sonia about the difference between what I call bigoted speech and hate speech. Big difference. Someone can have an opinion that can be offensive, but it's not hate. It's just a belief system they have, and you can't demand not to, be offended. But the difference between being offended by what someone thinks and out hate, and we were going to discuss that. Well, if you're up for it, Sonia, now that he's made these claims and saying that you claimed that Black Ops brought him down, which you never did. If you want to discuss this issue as well with Shaun Attwood, I'm up to it. I'll leave it with you. I'm up to discussing that as well. Or we could just go on about the hate. But please, Mohammed, if you could help us take this issue up. And until now, I won't get a reply from, as say, the two of them, Brian or Lance, because that's the point. Bullies don't respond. They just use the muscle and the podcast to get at you. Next stage will be to go to your sponsors, and I'll ask them if they have a mission statement against bullying, or in because they sponsored you. But anyway, my battery's run out, so until I get a response, I'll leave that with lovelies. Bye bye for now.